Well, I think it's fair to say that spectacularly blew up in the faces of Gary Lineker's co-hosts, fellow champagne socialists who practice selective solidarity, Ian Wright and Alan Shearer, because it turns out the viewing figures for that specific episode of Match of the Day, they chose not to attend because their mate got held to account for calling people Nazis, did rather well in the ratings. In fact, it did better without them than it did with them. It was a 20-minute episode or so of Match of the Day. There were no pundits, there was no commentary, just football. And this just proves that their positions are now untenable. If it means for the BBC that more people will watch Match of the Day without them three on, or anyone else, then it's a good thing. It just makes their jobs completely obsolete. The BBC don't need them. So the BBC might as well sack them all, thus bringing down the price of that forced tax, the TV licence fee. Not that I pay anyway, and I don't think anyone should, because the BBC is still the BBC. Now, if this was a normal job, where a normal person on the street works, where some of their colleagues walked out in solidarity because they got the sack, or they were suspended for being knobs, then they'd all be sacked, wouldn't they? I think it would look really favourable on the BBC if they just let all these people go. All these champagne socialists who crawled out of the woodwork and refused to attend their jobs in BBC broadcasting because of this should all be let go. Now, that episode of Match of the Day had 500,000 more viewers watching it, and I think that's funny as hell. After all, you're paying the BBC money, which they are giving to you in return football match highlights, so they're mis-selling you their product. It shouldn't be Match of the Day, it should be highlights of the day. And why the hell do you need pundits and commentary on highlights anyway? You don't get to see a full 90-minute match, and if you're an avid football fan, then you can tell what's going on anyway. And to be honest with you, do you really want to watch someone on telly like Gary Lineker, a guy who gets paid through a forced tax, which you have to pay, the TV licence fee, and you know what he thinks about you? If you voted for Brexit, if you're a Tory voter, if you supported Trump, or if you want tighter regulations on both legal and illegal migration, if you're a proud Brit, then he thinks you're a piece of shit. Do you really want to watch him? Do you really want his opinions? Or would you rather, as the viewing figures have proven, not have him there and watch the action instead? I know what I would prefer. And as for Alan Shearer and Ian Wright, where was their solidarity when Matt Letizia and two other co-hosts and fellow former professional footballers were sacked for voicing valid and sensible concerns about the plague jab? Where was their solidarity with Graham Lineker and J.K. Rowling? Two prominent people who have either been completely disassociated with their product or banned from working in their chosen profession ever again for having concerns, valid concerns, about gender ideology. Where was their solidarity with the autistic schoolboy who accidentally scuffed a holy book and is now getting death threats by the religion of peace? Where was their solidarity with the Batley school teacher who is still in hiding because he displeased the religion of peace? Where was their solidarity with Lawrence Fox, a guy now who can get an acting job here in Britain because he rubbished so-called white privilege on telly? Now, these people were real victims of cancel culture. They didn't shit on the people who pay their wages and compare them to genocidal maniacs, the Nazis, simply because they have concerns over mass illegal immigration. Indeed, this is just a bunch of millionaires, champagne socialists. Socialism for them and communism, cold hard communism for the poor. That's what they want. Mass illegal migration doesn't touch them or their families, doesn't affect them one bit. I doubt very much any of their families are homeless, being pushed to the back of the housing queue, finding they can't get a doctor's appointment or unable to get on a dentist's books, struggling with public travel or public services in general. Their kids go to exclusive private schools so they don't have to contend with school capacity numbers and frightened to walk the streets at night. None of these people have solidarity with Gary Lineker, have any connection to anything I've just listed that would affect them. So obviously they don't care, do they? So there we go. I hope the BBC see this for what it is. Gary Lineker, Ian Wright and Alan Shearer and the rest of them, they're not needed. They can save themselves a ton of taxpayers' money by sacking these people and saving millions. Because the viewing figures just proved it. And there we go. That's my video. I hope you like. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And until the next time, have a great day. Look after yourselves. And Roger Trout.